Hello all, welcome to Jay's Techie Crown. Today in this video I'm going to discuss in detail about the H4 employment authorization document for the US immigration. Those who are visiting my channel for the first time, please subscribe the channel. Come, let's get into the video. H4s are nothing but the dependents of H1Bs. If the H4s want to work legally in US, they should have their EAD approved. Come, let's get into the video to see the process for how to apply for the. Before we start applying for the EAD, we should know our eligibility, the process and the required documents and the duration that will be taken for the overall EAD processing. And so what is the basic eligibility in order to apply for the EAD? The first thing should be he or she should be physically present in the US in order to apply for the H4 EAD. And secondly, he should be a spouse of an H1B and he should have or she should have the I-140 approved. I-140 will be done by the employers mainly along with the labor. Generally, employers used to apply for the I-140 during the max out stage. In some cases, some employees used to apply for the I-140 even after 3 years. So once your I-140 gets approved, then the dependents or spouse of the H1Bs are legally eligible to apply for the H4 EAD. Once you have finalized your eligibility, then the next step would be to fill the form I-765. Let me show you how to fill the form I-765. This is the form I-765. So once you open the form, the first thing a person has to check is the validity. So when is the expiry date of the form? If you look here, you can see it shows 5/31/2020. So make sure you are filling the form which is having the proper validity. If it is expired, then download the latest form in order to fill the form I-765. The first section is for the UCS use only, so you can skip the section. Then you can come over here. So here it shows if you're going to use an attorney in order to file the H4 EAD, then it is for the attorney. But if you're going to do it by yourself, then you can come over here and you can start from here. So this is the part one. The part one is saying the reason for applying. If you are going to do it for the first time, then you can click on this initial permission to accept the employment. In case if it is for the replacement of lost or stolen, or if it is for renewal, then you can click on either of these things. But since I'm just going to fill it for the first time, I'm clicking on the initial permission. Then coming back to the part two. Part two is to give the information about you. You have to fill in your legal first name, last name, middle name as mentioned in the passport. So try to fill in as mentioned in the passport. In case if you have other names, then you can come to part 2A and furnish all the details. Else you can skip and come to the mailing address section. You can mention the US mailing address. You can mention your current US address and click on yes if your current mailing address and the physical address are the same, so that you can ignore filling this physical address over here. For the people who are filing for the first time, they may not be having the alien registration number or USS online account number. They can skip these two sections. And coming to the gender, click on the gender, either male or female accordingly. Then the marital status, which is married or widowed or divorced or single. But in case only H4 is for dependents, so you can select married. Have you previously filed form I-765? In case if it is for renewal, you can click on yes. But if it's for the first time, you can go with no. If you have a social security number, you can click on the options appropriately. In case if you don't have the social security number, you can move on to the next section where you have to mention yes to get the social security number. And click on 15 as well as yes. 15 is to authorize for the SSN. So if you select yes in 14, then obviously 15 should be yes by default. Then coming to item number 16, you can mention your father's name, the first and last name, and your mother's first and last name. Then 18A, mention the country. So you should mention the country of your citizenship as mentioned over here. 19 should be the city or the village of birth, and the state of birth, and the country of birth. So based on the information you mentioned in the passport, you can mention the same in detail with the date of birth. And Here comes the section 21A, where you need to mention the details about your recent I-94, which you can download from the portal in online. And this should be your recent I-94, so you can download from the online and then mention the same number over here, along with your passport number, country with the country date of expiration and the date of last arrival. So you can mention both the information. 23 would be place of your last arrival. If you arrived in Illinois or if you arrived in New York, so you can mention the state where you arrived. 24th would be the immigration status at your last arrival. So it will be a H4 dependent. So you can mention 24 as H4 dependent. Similarly, 25 as H4 dependent, which is your. Then coming to the section 27, which is very important. So section 27 should be mentioned as C26. C26 is for the spouse of an approved I-140. Also, he or she can be a spouse received H-1B status based on the American Competitiveness in the 21st Century Act, which is AC21. For those, they can mention as 106A and B. You can ignore the other sections 28, 28B, C. Coming to section 29, which is the most important section. Most people used to mention the Form I-140 petition number, but which is wrong. You have to mention the most recent Form I-797 notice for Form I-29. So try to mention the Form I-129 petition number, which is a 13-digit number. So try to mention the Form I-797 notice for Form I-129, which is your most recent I-797 and not the I-140 document. Then you can ignore the rest of the sections 30, 31, 31B. Then click on section 1A. I can read and understand English, and I have read and understood every question and instruction on this application and my answer to every question. Then try to fill the date and telephone number, mobile number and email address. And then click on the applicant signature, take the printout of it and then sign on it using a black pen and also mention the date. Since the person is doing self for himself, you not have to mention anything else. Rest of the sections can be ignored. In case if it is being done by an attorney, then they will fill the other details. But if the person is doing for a self, then there is no need to fill the rest of the pages. You can ignore them. Now I have explained you how to fill Form I-765. So once you're done with Form I-765, the next thing would be you have to download the Form G1145. This is for the e-notification. Let me show you how the Form G1145 will be and then what details needs to be filled in the form. This is the Form G1145. This form is purely for the purpose of e-notification. So it's a one-page document. You have to fill in the last, first, middle name and the email address and the phone number so that you will be notified about the further status. So you can attach this document, the Form I-765 and G1145. Then you have to collect supporting the other documents of evidence. Then you have to mail them. Here comes the list of documents that are required. The first one would be the H4 status. So for the H4 status, either you can mention the copy of your Form I-797 approval notice for Form I-5389, application to extend or change non-immigration status, or you can also download the I-94, which is the recent arrival or departure record. Next comes the government issued identification document with a photo. So what documents can be used for the same? Either you can use a copy of your latest EAD, or the copy of the biometric page of your passport, or a birth certificate with photo ID, or a visa issued by a foreign consulate, or a national identity document with photo. So basically they are requiring a document with a. Next one would be the relationship to the H-1B. So here we require a copy of your marriage certificate. The next one would be the basis for eligibility, which is nothing but evidence that the H-1B non-immigrant is the principal beneficiary of an approved Form I-140. Basically, you have to attach your H-1B's Form I-140. And the final thing would be 2 identical 2x2 inch passport style color photographs of yourself. Also, in the back side of the photograph, please mention your I-94 number and your full name by using. Coming to the fees, a check of $410 has to be paid in favor of US Department of State. It can be a personal check or a cashier's check. Once you have done with all the list of documents, Form I-765 and G-1145, then you have to arrange all the documents in sequence and then send it accordingly to a USCIS office. Please refer to USCIS website for the address to which you have to send all the documents, as it purely depends upon the Form I-129 document. In case if you are sending it to an PO box, then use USPS, and in case of any address, then use FedEx or UPS. So what are the most common FAQs? The first thing would be, do I need to be in United States to apply for the EAD? Yes, you need to be physically present in order to apply for the EAD. But after applying for EAD, you can travel outside the country, but there's a chance of getting RFE, as there will be a difference in the I-94 number which is mentioned in the document. The second one would be, can I apply H1B, H4 extension and transfer and H4 EAD all together? Yes, you can do it all together. Yes, but the things will go step by step. H1B will be first approved, followed by H4 and then the H4 EAD. The third one would be, what if your previous employer filed your I-140 and then you're trying to file EAD based on your previous employer's I-140? In case if your employer has not revoked your I-140, then you will be eligible to apply for the EAD. But you have to check whether the I-140 is revoked or not. In case if it is not revoked, then you are eligible to apply for the EAD. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and post your comments and questions to the email ID.